While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
Welcome, everyone, to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being here. We're live on WYSL until 1 p.m., so give us a call if you want to participate in today's discussion, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Of course, hello to all of our friends listening down the line over at WACK out in Newark and WENY, the Patriot down the southern tier. We're glad you're here as well. And our friends listening online on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, all those places. Send me your comments. We are talking about delivery apps today. And, I'd especially love to hear from you guys. So we're talking about, the Grubhub, the Uber Eats, all those places, because there's a new executive order from the Monroe County Executive, Adam Bello, capping delivery app fees. So I want to hear from you. If you are a restaurant owner who uses these or doesn't use these, or if you're an individual, you like these, don't like these, do you use these apps? Do you call the restaurants and look at them yourselves and see what they prefer? What's your experience of this? But let's get to what the actual news item is, right? So the news item is that Adam Bello, who is the, again, county executive where I live in Monroe County, is capping delivery fees on things like Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, all those types. There's a bunch of them. They can't charge more than 15% of the purchase price of the order, regardless of whether the order is placed through an app, an online portal, or anything else. And it takes effect immediately. Now, there was a similar bill proposed in the county ledge by a county legislator named Rachel Barnhart, who happens to be my county legislator. And she wanted to do the same thing. She's saying that these apps, these delivery services, are ripping off restaurants. That restaurants, which can't be open fully right now, particularly in the orange zone, which again, where I live, one of the orange zones in New York State, they need to use these apps. Because they need to do takeout and delivery. The emergency order under Adam Bello is justified because the restaurants have no choice, and they're being ripped off by these services, that they have no other recourse to be able to make ends meet. So the emergency order makes sense. We have to cap these delivery services from being able to price gouge the restaurants. And I'm sympathetic to the situation of the restaurants, too. Again, they're put in a tough position. Governor Cuomo has told them that they're not allowed to do indoor dining in some places. In many places, it's restricted. Your capacity is restricted. And on top of that, it's not just a government thing either. It is also people are just nervous to go and eat out. And I've spoken to a couple restaurant owners about this, and I've just spoken to friends and family about this. A lot of people just aren't eating out anymore, particularly if they're in a higher risk category for COVID. So it's not just the government, it's a whole situation, but it is the government too. Governor Cuomo has made many restaurants in my city, it made it almost impossible for them to survive, and dozens have closed already. So look at this situation. This is politicians, again, they love taking action. They got to look like they're doing something to help, regardless of what the long-term consequences of this are. And so, again, Adam Bello has capped these services at 15%. And, I got an issue with this for a couple reasons. First of all, this is an executive action. This is something that is being done without the consent of the normal lawmaking process in the county ledge. The county legislature did not take up this legislation. They didn't vote on it. It got tabled. It's done. Now, Monroe isn't the only county to do this. There are other counties throughout the state that have done this. A few in the southern part of New York where they've just, again, capped these delivery fees. They've said, this is too much. We are going to help our business. it's never lifting restrictions on things, making it easier for people to operate. It's just, well, why not harm another business? So again, first of all, I don't like the way this was done. This is executive overreach. This is the same thing Governor Cuomo is doing. It's just at a lower level. I don't think that the county executive should be making laws and fixing prices. This is a bad thing all around for a county executive to determine what price is appropriate for any company at any level to offer their service. What business is it of government to say you have to sell your service at this price or else you can't operate at all? Why on earth should we accept that the government should be allowed to do that at all for anything? And if they can do it with this, what's to stop them from doing it anywhere? And I want to, dive into a few examples of that later. But what's to stop them from, doing it to my business, to your business, to say, well, in this time of COVID emergency, like this service is essential, so you cannot sell this, service at a, 30% markup. You're just profiteering off of this. Now, the government does this all the time in emergencies, and they'll say that, for instance, people who mark up gasoline prices in a hurricane, are price gouging, and even though that ends up creating a run on a product and a service in that situation, it would oftentimes be better for government to just let the free market figure it out. And get a comment from Will online. Let the free markets decide. Yeah, I agree, Will. Let the free markets decide. Let them figure this out. So you have all these delivery companies out there, right? And, I want to preface most of this conversation by saying I don't always like the delivery companies. This isn't about defending them specifically, right? Because there's a few things that they do that I'm not particularly crazy about. Like the Grubhub, the Uber Eats, all those, DoorDash. I'll use Grubhub occasionally. I don't really like Uber Eats all that much. I just never found it all that great for the restaurants I'm looking for. So they charge a lot. Sometimes they'll charge 30%. What they do. And they also charge, big delivery fees on top of that. Now, those delivery fees go to drivers. You got to pay the drivers. And those other fees that these companies charge go towards other stuff. It goes towards software development. It goes towards marketing. It goes towards a few other things. And including profit, which, again, I'm a free market advocate. I don't care if someone's making profit. It's fine. Because at the end of the day, what's important about any of these services is that as long as restaurants are consenting to this, as long as they're opting in, then I don't see what the problem is. Now, restaurants are, like a lot of the local news stories are quoting restaurants saying like, oh, this is such a wonderful thing. This is great. Well, of course, restaurants love that. They have outsourced their delivery and online ordering processes to these companies. And now the county is saying that they can pay an even lower price for this. Why wouldn't restaurants like that? Of course they like it. It's a great deal for them. But in a free market, every business should be able to set what the price is for their service because they know what it costs to market it, to develop it, to get it out to other people. And at the end of the day, these businesses are consenting to use that service, even if they think it's a little bit too high. If they're not getting a return on ad spend, they wouldn't be using it. They would just opt out. Now, if you're a restaurant owner and you are using a Grubhub, a DoorDash, whatever, one of these delivery services, one of these online ordering services, and you're not making a profit, I would love to hear why. Give me a call, 585-346-3000. Again, 585-346-3000. Give me a call. If I'm wrong about this, I'm happy to hear about it. But the way it seems to me is that you're choosing to use it. So why should the county jump in and price fix here? All right, we'll keep talking about this when we come back here on A Free Solution. Talk to you soon.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
When you've been seriously injured in a car crash, you need a lawyer who knows how to beat the big insurance companies. Call me and I'll take them on so you can focus on your health and family.
Car crash, call Salino. Salino, call Salino. 888-2020.
Main Street, Rochester.
Rochester's only NCAA Division II athletic scholarship program wants you. Our Life in the Balance approach to athletics will provide you with an opportunity to succeed in the classroom and in your sport while allowing you the time to be involved with your personal interests and even study abroad. The Redhawks compete in the East Coast Conference, and their student athletes excel in the classroom and on the playing field. If you're ready for the challenge of high-level athletics while earning a college degree that will prepare you for the future, visit robertsredhawks.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks again, everyone, for joining me. And again, if you want to participate in this conversation, give us a call, 585-346-3000, 585-346-3000. Would love to hear from you. And got a couple comments in online from, Will, you got a few different services happening here, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, a few of those. They can compete, lower the prices, be competitive. The proponents of this law are saying, essentially they have an oligopoly on this, that they're being anti-competitive. Without having to prove it, that's the accusation and part of the justification, at least, informally, of this. And then Scott says if they're not making money, refuse the service. Yeah, again, you can always opt out, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. And Michael Cordello Jr. Commented and said, not 100% well-versed in this, but it's my understanding that there are some restaurants on these delivery apps that haven't opted into a service. Ongoing lawsuit for having restaurants listed without their permission. Until that gets sorted out, perhaps the source softens the blow a little bit, but it's also a different issue entirely. Now, that is something I've heard, and someone brought it up to me on Twitter earlier today, too. And I've read articles about that. Some restaurants are getting placed on these services, and then people are putting orders in, and then they're like, I'm not making an order, and then they get bad reviews. And so it looks bad for the restaurant. Looks like they're just not having it together to make their orders. I think this is a totally different issue. I can see how I would be frustrated. I think that it's fraudulent and it's deceptive to do that. When at the moment restaurants are no longer consenting to be on the platform, you have a totally different, legitimate legal grievance with these companies. And if they are doing that, as is being accused, then yeah, absolutely. That needs to stop. If you're not consenting to a service, you're not asking to, to outsource your delivery and online ordering services to these companies. Yeah, that's not okay. What I'm talking about here is that restaurants who have chosen to use this service. And the argument from progressive economic thinking is that, well, sure, they voluntarily opted into this, but they really had no choice but to participate in using these apps because of the conditions that we have now. And because of this emergency situation, we need to step in and regulate and fix prices. Now, never mind the fact that this is a problem created by government being solved by more government, which is in turn going to create even more problems. But, we're not going to go that far, are we? No, but, again, Michael, good point, and I'm glad you brought it up. I'm not here to necessarily defend the companies themselves. I don't know if they are good and wholesome and awesome, or even if the fees that they charge are appropriate. That is a different question. If you don't like the fees, though, you don't have to use them. Because I think that the progressive argument that people have to use this is total nonsense. You do not have to use these services. You can opt out at any time. Again, assuming you're not being put on there without your consent, which is a different issue. In fact, I've talked to several restaurant owners now who have said, well, we don't like these apps. We don't like what they do. We don't like what they charge. We don't like that they try to, and I've worked on the other end of this where I'm working with restaurants too who are like, well, we kind of got to be on here, but they're grumpy that they have to pay like additional marketing fees on top of this to get their restaurant to show higher. They're always trying to get them to do that type of stuff. A lot of restaurant owners, they don't like it. They want nothing to do with it. They don't like the fees being charged, so they opt out. They say, we're not going to do that. And then they go and they either find another solution. They go find a different type of delivery app, delivery service, and there are more than just the big three out there. Or they get someone to create their own or use a more pared down service. Some restaurants will use a different online ordering services and only offer pickup only. Some restaurants, if you look them up, you call them, you ask what they would prefer you do. They would say, yep, please just call in directly so we don't lose the fees, because some of these apps, they do charge a lot of money. And again, it boggles my mind that anyone would think like a restaurant would continue to use this service if they were losing money. Like, why would they make that business decision? Why do politicians think that they know more than the restaurant owners themselves too? Again, a lot of restaurant owners are saying this is a great thing because of course it is. What would they have to do otherwise to do all of this? What these services provide is marketing. Again, I don't have to know that a restaurant exists within 2 miles of my house to see it on like a Grubhub type of thing. I can just look it up. Oh, I want to find, I want to find Thai food. Okay, look up Thai food restaurants. Okay, this one is pretty close, and I can see the whole menu. I can order everything on there, so it helps your restaurant get found. There's marketing involved in that. It also, again, put your whole menu online. Some restaurants will use these services instead of putting their menu online, use it instead of a website in some cases. And then you outsource delivery. You don't have to have an employee that you have to pay taxes on, that you have to pay an hourly wage to, regardless of how many deliveries you're getting. You've outsourced that. That is Grubhub's problem. That is Uber Eats' problem. They're off doing their own thing and getting paid for deliveries across the region that you're in. You don't have to worry about keeping that employee on and paying for them, even if they're not actively doing deliveries at that point. You've outsourced that to someone else. You've outsourced the whole online ordering system too. You don't have to set up and design and monitor your own. They give you all that stuff. So all this stuff costs money. You can do that in-house. Again, I know some who have. I know some who, they're like, what? Again, this isn't worth it. Just call us. Or they're setting up their own system. They're working with, local developers to do that. Local web developers. Why not? You have that choice. You can either bring all those costs in-house and in the long term probably save a bunch of money, or forego that initial investment and understand that you're going to get the marketing from these companies. You're going to get the online delivery infrastructure from these companies, and you're going to get the drivers from these companies, and you're going to have to pay a certain fee on that. And if you're not getting a return on ad spend on that stuff, then don't use it. You are not forced to use it. Again, if you're a restaurant owner and I'm making you mad right now, and I'm wrong, call me, 585-346-3000. 585-346-3000. But I don't think I'm wrong on this, because I've been a business owner before. I've had to make some of these same decisions before too. Like I work in digital marketing. There's these services like social listening services that the big companies have that I would love to have, but they are way too expensive for me. Like I can't afford some of that stuff, but my clients ask about it. Oh, how do I know if people are talking about me online if they're not tagging me? You buy into one of these social listening services, one of the big companies has them. Okay, like it would be great if I could force the government to get those companies that sell those services at an extreme discount to me, because then, I'm now more equal with these big companies. But if I can't get a return on investment on those services, why is that the government's problem? Why is that the taxpayer's problem? Why is that the other company's problem? I can choose to opt into that service or not opt into that service. That is how free markets are supposed to work. Is that the government can't force me or another company or anyone to offer a service for less than what makes sense to them. And what you're going to end up with here, I think, is you're just going to end up distorting services. What's interesting about this executive order is that it doesn't apply to basically big chain restaurants. So you might get a couple things happen. I don't know. I haven't seen the full, and I don't think we have seen the full impact of the consequences, even though this was put into place immediately. But I don't know if what will happen is, well, if you're a small restaurant, maybe you can't use this anymore. Because, they only want to do the big restaurants now because they're the ones who will pay the full fee. And that's the only ones that are going to make a profit for them. So if you're a small restaurant, well, too bad. You might get kicked off. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it could happen. They might limit delivery area. They might increase minimum ticket size because, again, it's a percentage of the bill. It has to be 15%. So now, instead of being able to order $15 worth of stuff, you have to order at least $40 worth of stuff to make the delivery worth it for the delivery app company. Okay, so, I might forego ordering something on Grubhub or whatever because I don't want to spend $40. I'm just trying to get some tacos. Darn it. So I'll just go and drive there myself. Or, just not get it at all. I'll just eat at home. That's the decision we can make. Actually, small side note on that. I had someone, interestingly enough, tell me, like, from a consumer side, that these things are too expensive. And they're like, oh, I had to pay $40 for a single dish. And I felt bad for this person. And you can see the conversation on Twitter if you follow me. You know what? On the other hand, you're not entitled to a cheap meal either. Like, if the meal's expensive, like, stuff's got to be paid for. The restaurant is owed money. The app is owed money. The driver who's taking you, the meal to you is owed money. So if you're paying $40 for a single meal on one of these delivery apps, that's a choice you are choosing to make. And I don't feel bad for you if it's too expensive, because that's about how much my wife and I, pay when we order this stuff. But we don't usually get delivery, though. We'd rather save the $15 and go and drive to the place ourselves because we live in a neighborhood with a ton of restaurants. I mean, if you live out in, Hamlin or, one of the towns in Livingston County or one town in Southern Tier, and you don't have anything far away and you want delivery, yeah, guys, it's going to be expensive. That's how it's going to go. If you want something that's going to take 30 minutes to drive to you, you got to compensate the driver. Driver, deserves money too. And I've talked to drivers too. I know someone who is a driver for one of these platforms, and that's just how it is. That's how it goes. You got to pay for that stuff. All right. Thanks again for joining us on A Free Solution. Again, whatever end of this you're on, whether you're on the developer end, the restaurant end, the user end, you want to weigh on this, 585-346-3000. We're talking about delivery apps today. Back with at least one more segment of this in just a few minutes. Thanks again for joining us on A Free Solution.
Don't be muzzled. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. We're looking at breezy conditions today out of the south with gusts around 25 miles per hour. Light snow in the morning, then it looks like rain this afternoon with temperatures in the lower 40s. Tonight into tomorrow, we do still see a mix between rain and scattered snow showers, and that's where we'll end off on Thursday morning. 35 degrees for the high with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon. New Year's Day, it looks like we do have some rain. Could be icy at times at night. This is Samantha LaRocca for WYSL.
Bob Savage here, hoping your business or business plans have weathered the past few months and you're moving forward with happier days. We at the WYSL stations want to say Merry Christmas with some good news for business owners and managers. Moving into the new year, you'll want your business name, image, and message to be top of mind for consumers with pent-up demand. That's why we're renewing our offer from last summer for free advertising. Actually, 2 months worth of free advertising. Also, free basic copywriting and creative as well. No hidden charges. We're doing this to help new businesses and businesses who have suffered from the government shutdown to get back on track and growing. After the first 2 months of free ads, once your cash flow and operations are stable and you're off and running, you run an inexpensive paid schedule for a few months, but that's only after your free schedule. WYSL accepts all major credit cards and we have easy terms for qualified advertisers. Get reacquainted with customers and attract new ones. Get the word out about your business on the powerful, affordable Voice of Liberty, WYSL, and get your 2 free months of advertising. Call 346-3000 today.
Now is a great time to shop at Victor Chevrolet. Come see how easy it is to do business with us. Winter driving is safe and fun when you lease the 2020 Equinox front-wheel drive LS. Just $129 a month for 36 months. Or buy it for just $24,990. Or enjoy the versatility of a tough and roomy 2021 Silverado LST. Lease for only $229 a month for 36 months. Or buy it for just $43,990. Lease a 2020 Chevy Trax LS front-wheel drive for just $89 a month for 36 months.
For Equinox, Trax, or Trailblazer, must have current lease and household. 10,000 miles per year. $2,500 cash or trade. First payment, tax, acquisition, and DMV fees are all due at signing for all leases.
Would you prefer to buy? Save big when you buy a 2019 Trax LT all-wheel drive with convenience package, power drive seat, and keyless entry and start. MSRP $26,145. Buy it now for just $19,990. This winter, find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor.
Visit VictorChevrolet.com.
Imani, time for school, baby. Imani, time for school. Imani, it's time.
A different couch, a different floor, the backseat of a car. Over 2,000 Rochester school-aged children are homeless, but now there is hope. The Open Door Mission Coldwater House for moms and their children. OpenDoorMission.com/doves.
We're all busy, running to get the kids to practice, rushing to get dinner on the table, hurrying to meetings, the store, or getting to those endless lists of errands. That's why more and more Rochesterians are tuning in to the newscast that fits their schedule. News 10 NBC at 7. Exclusive investigations, up-to-the-minute breaking news, and of course, your first alert forecast. It's how Rochester gets caught up before the sun goes down. News 10 NBC at 7.
We're in one of the strongest markets we've seen in a decade. Now is the time to make your move. Our team at Sharon Court Realty is ready to help you prepare for this thriving market. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or build, the opportunities are endless. Buyers can afford more with interest rates at record lows. Sellers can get more money than ever for their houses in the seller's market. And our builders can design your dream home. We're here to guide you through the process so you can capitalize on these opportunities too. Visit us at SharonQ.com and call us today at 900-1111.
It's clear. Healthcare is changing. At UR Medicine, we're embracing technologies like telemedicine. It's a modern-day house call, allowing you to see your medical team from home and include family who can help with your care. It's easy to use, it's convenient, and it's effective. Telemedicine can't replace all in-person visits, but for many people, it's just what the doctor ordered. It's UR Medicine redesigned. Visit redesigned.urmc.edu.
Fix It via video, a new video chat-based repair service. They guide you through troubleshooting of power equipment, including snow blowers. Winter will be here before you know it. Get ready now. Check out fixitchat.live.
It's time to put your liberty into action. Come and listen to The Liberty Show here on WYSL Voice of Liberty on the first Saturday of the month at 7 p.m. This month we'll be interviewing Second Amendment activist Maj Touré. Hope you're able to tune in.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks for joining us. Again, give us a call, 585-346-3000 if you want to participate in the conversation. Shout out down the line again to our friends over at WACK out in Newark and WENY, the Patriot down in the Southern Tier. Thanks again for carrying a free solution. Thanks, listeners, for being with us today, and our friends on YouTube, on the Free Solution Facebook page, on the Free Solution YouTube page, on the Kevin Wilson Facebook page, and the Kevin Wilson Twitter page. You know, and again, I want to emphasize, I recognize restaurants are in a very difficult position here. That's because of both the nature of a pandemic itself and actions of a government, often several governments. It is difficult to operate and thrive in this environment. It is what it is. And in fact, you know, I did want to touch on like another small but frustrating story from the city too, in the context of all this, is that the city of Rochester, despite not allowing things like darts and pool and whatnot to be used because of the pandemic, was still planning on collecting the entertainment license fees that are required to have these equipment, have these pieces of equipment in bars and restaurants, despite the fact, again, that you can't use them. The city was going to collect those still. They have since, because of public pressure, gone back on that, and thank goodness. But what a ridiculous thing for the city of Rochester to do. What a ridiculous thing for them to say, well, you can't use this, but we're still going to shake you down for money for this. We're still going to make sure that you pay for the privilege of even owning this equipment in your bar that we will not allow you to use. That's just typical. I think Larry mentioned that in yesterday's show too, but I'm glad that they were shamed into no longer collecting the fees this year. And they've also pretended like the city pretend like it's gifted. We're giving this to you. We're so generous as to allow you to have this equipment still without having to pay us tribute. Oh goodness, thank you so much, government. You're so nice. My goodness, absolutely ridiculous. That type of stuff disgusts me. So anyway, you know, back to the topic at hand, though. You know, again, I know restaurants are having a hard time. I know a lot of restaurants, you know, are grumpy about the fees. And, you know, in some of the articles I've read, and then I'll share, like, there's a Business Insider one that I read. I think it's from a few months ago, actually. Actually, no, this one's from last year. They're complaining about these delivery apps. This is something that, like, progressives wanted to regulate even before COVID. So, like, it's another one of those things, like, let's not pretend that this is a COVID thing. This is a progressives want to, you know, butt in here thing. Like, that's what's happening. Like, we can cite this example dozens of times in the middle of this pandemic. Like, oh, look, it's just a power grab, and they're now using a pandemic to justify that. Let me share that article for y'all. And if you're listening online, if you're listening over the radio, again, go to my Facebook page. I often share the articles I'm looking at, the stuff that I'm, you know, referencing in the middle of my show. I want you guys to see what I'm looking at. I want to try to be as transparent as possible and see what sources are informing the discussion here. So, in regards to the price of these, again, I'm not sure if that's the right price, but again, I do know if you are running a business, you do have expenses to cover. You know, again, you have, in this case, probably developers, drivers, investors, you know, the cost of the server infrastructure itself, the marketing, all this stuff goes in business. And if you've been a business owner, you know this too. You know, and I think, like, you know, what if this same logic were applied to my business, right? You know, I've run a digital marketing business before. I'm part of a digital marketing business. You know, I do, you know, e-commerce sales for, different types of retail companies. Now, imagine if the same logic applied. Well, the state of New York has said that your retail business cannot open. Therefore, we want to crack down on services that are charging too much to create and run ads. So if I want to charge a 25% management fee that includes doing creative, setting up strategy, setting up tracking, all that stuff, if I wanted to do that, and I say, well, 25% is what I need to pay me, my employees, my contractors to create that stuff. That's what I need to be able to make a profit, to make this time worth it for me. What business of the government to say that I have to charge less than that? Because again, that's the same logic that could apply. The government could say digital marketing is an essential service. You need that to operate in this pandemic environment. And we can't believe these digital marketing companies are charging so much. You have to charge less. Not considering that all of the labor, the employees, the infrastructure, the talent that needs to go into that. And you can apply this example to any sort of business. Again, everything is, there are various things. They're essential to running a restaurant. Equipment maintenance. If you don't like the company that is selling and maintaining your equipment, should the government cap the fees that they can charge to come out and repair stuff? No, that would be absolutely ridiculous. No, you can go to another company. You can go to another repair service. Why should the government set the price on that stuff? Why should the government regulate that stuff? The way I see these delivery app services is it's just like any other thing. Just like marketing, just like the infrastructure of your business. If it isn't worth the cost to you, either your business, is in trouble and you just need to find new ways to get new customers, or if it's not getting a good return on investment, whatever you're doing, then you need to cut it and try something else. Just like every other business decision. This isn't special. This is just like, again, it's like saying like commercials are essential. No, they are great. They are great for getting your business out there, and they can give you a good return on investment. That's great. You should do that, including on the station. But the government doesn't need to get involved and say, well, this is essential for businesses to be able to operate right now, so we should force stations to limit what you can sell those commercials at. No, it's not the government's business to do that. That is a voluntary, consensual interaction between two different types of businesses. The government's stepping in here. And the justification that they're being used can be applied everywhere. And they will often do that in other cases. So this is, to me, a testing ground for, do people accept this type of rationale for government intervention? Is this something that is okay to you? And again, this isn't, I'll keep saying it because I've been accused of it several times. Why are you taking a stand against restaurants? I ain't. I'm not taking a stand against restaurants. And I know some restaurants are like, this is a great thing. Because of course it is. They're able to outsource their, delivery and ordering services for cheaper by government fiat. Not even going through the legislative process anymore. Which again, is at the county level. It's at the state level. It's been at the federal level for an executive to create laws for a long time. Now it's encoded in law in New York State, at least through the next several months with Governor Cuomo. And I imagine it'll keep getting renewed at the county level. Not just in Monroe, where I live, in Rochester, but everywhere. They could start doing this stuff. And they are doing this stuff. So what I'm asking you, listeners, is to be vigilant and to let the market work. You are not owed any particular service. You are not owed any particular cost for services. If something doesn't work for you, don't use it. Find a competitor. I can't imagine that there aren't other companies out there trying to do similar things to provide these services for restaurants in a way that will undercut the prices of these more established services. That's how the market is supposed to work, to find different ways of doing that, or to, instead of forcing the restaurants to pay the cost, to have the customer on the other end pay the cost. Whatever it is, let the market work. The moment you start getting the government involved, fixing prices, you end up locking a system in place that's often worse, that serves consumers in a less effective way, and will have long-term consequences that we can't see yet. And I'd mentioned what some of those might be in the previous segment. So again, don't let our politicians get away with this stuff. Let's let the free market work. The free market in individuals, again, so the free market is not an abstract concept. Individuals, businesses doing stuff to make a profit, to serve others, can solve problems like this. Don't let politicians trick you into being confined into this lack of imagination that only government can solve this problem. That is absolutely not true. We can solve this problem. Other business owners can solve this problem. The best way to do it is to let these voluntary arrangements play themselves out. All right. Thanks again for joining us on Free Solution. We got one more segment left. But again, if you want to participate in this conversation, give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We'll be back with more on Free Solution in just a few minutes.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you for being here, listening, wherever you're listening. Listen all over the place. We're talking about, again, these delivery apps and whether or not, or I guess, I don't think it's a mystery anymore where I stand, so I won't say whether or not, but, my stance on Adam Bello, again, the Monroe County executive, who issued an executive order, effective immediately, it was as of Monday, to cap delivery fees on these apps to 15%, because some of them were charging 20, 30%. You know, I think I've more or less gotten across my point. And if I haven't, again, give me a call, 585-346-3000 if you have anything to add or discuss with me. Or of course, comment online as well. Just the last thing is, again, I do feel bad for the restaurants. If you look at the governor's own data, the restaurants were not a significant source of COVID spread. It was mostly house parties. Less than 2% came from restaurants. So why not find ways to let restaurants open safely? I am also concerned that many of my favorite businesses are going to go under. I hate to see it. And part of that is by ham-fisted government action. I think that we can build a system, and there's actually folks who are proposing to do this, build a system where restaurants could stay open, you know, even in a red zone situation, which I know we can discuss the whole zone thing later, but even in a situation with lots of rising COVID situations, keeping restaurants open if they're not proven to be a source of contagion, if they're doing everything like, okay, everyone's washing their hands, no one's caught it here, people wearing masks when they're up and moving, all that type of stuff. I think there's safe ways to do it. This is another, you know, instance where the free market and individuals dedicated to solving problems are what is going to fix this situation. You know, I call this show a free solution, and you know, it's a bit of a play on words. I don't have all the solutions. I'm not going to give you all the solutions. The solution is freedom itself. Everyone else has the ideas. People know how to operate their businesses, what makes sense for them. And it's not that every individual business owner is going to be perfect, but there's wisdom in the market and the free interaction of individuals. And that's what we can see with the delivery app situation, as I've covered. This is what we can see with allowing restaurants to open, too. There are people proposing ways to say, okay, here's how we track this, here's how we can grade it, here's how we can find safe ways for people to be able to open and continue to operate and have businesses thrive in a situation that is difficult. Instead, again, politicians would like you to think that only they can do this. We have to have government intervene. We have to have government control the situation. We have to have the government control prices. That is not what has to happen. And in fact, by doing so, again, you're showing a lack of imagination, and oftentimes ends up making situations worse and preventing the emergence of new, innovative opportunities to solve problems in markets. And of course, as soon as, you know, those new problems emerge because of the government intervention, who's going to get blamed? Oh, the free market has failed. Now, let's not dig through all the evidence that suggests that the government intervention in the first place was what caused market distortions. You know, and I was joking too, you know, with someone online, like, is this line of argumentation going to lead to a state-controlled delivery app system? You know, where we're going to get food hours later, and we're going to have subsidizing the heck out of it, and you know, people are going to start to ask years later, well, how would we ever deliver food without this? People get locked into these things, and then as soon as the government has control over this, they can't imagine a situation where the government never intervened in this process. You lose the sense of possibility that comes with freedom. And so that's why I'm so fired up about this. And I know it seems trivial, like who cares about this in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, why am I coming in and people have accused me of defending these big companies that are charging too much? It's not really about that. It's about the principle of thing. It's about taking a stand wherever we can in instances where the government thinks it knows better than all of us collectively. They don't. They're just people. That's all they are. They're people. They are not any smarter than any of the rest of us. They don't know how to run. They might be smart about any number of individual things, but they don't know specifically how to run my business, how to run your business, how to do education, how to do anything necessarily better than the experts out in the field. So anytime that the government tries to, at any level, again, this is local government. This isn't big, scary federal government. This is local government doing this. This is the government that is supposed to be most accountable to the people. In fact, there's an argument that goes among conservatives like, oh, well, if we just get back to local government, we just get back to state government, everything will be okay. No, that is not where I'm at. Tyranny can happen at a local level too. Oppressive economic control can happen at a local level too. We have to fight these intrusions on liberty at every single level. We have to fight wherever it's happening, whether it's at the municipal level with ridiculous zoning codes, at the county level with this price fixing scheme with these delivery apps, where it's at the state level. And there's there's plenty to talk about that with New York State or at the federal level. Liberty is important no matter which level of government is violating it. No matter who is doing it, it is worth fighting. It's not enough to just say, well, if we just bring tyranny back to the school board level, it's okay. No, it's still not all right. I'm not a diehard localist. I don't think states' rights or local control is panacea, is my point. I think this instance demonstrates that pretty well. Just bringing power back down to a low level doesn't matter if we allow, people at the county and the city, whatever level, to violate our liberty anyway. And in this case, doing so by executive order, by circumventing the normal legislative process to do this. We have to take a stand somewhere. And again, if we want to solve these problems, the best thing we can do is to try to elevate people who are talking about these issues, who are talking about ways within the context of free market to build consensual arrangements, to find new ways to deliver food. What a concept, which is the government doesn't need to get involved. Just find new ways of doing it. I am sure, and I would love to hear about it, I am sure that there are other apps out there that are charging less, that are making it work. They're figuring out ways to serve these restaurants more effectively. And that is a great business opportunity for someone out there right now who might be thinking like, well, if everyone's mad at DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, whatever, if everyone's mad at them right now, how can I start to build a following so restaurants will use my service or undercut their prices? Here's how I'm going to compensate my drivers. Here's how I'm going to build the infrastructure. I'm going to make sure that this works for the restaurants who are upset with this arrangement right now. I think that is possible. But if they need to set a 20% margin in order to make that work right now, they're in trouble. It's not going to work. This type of arrangement ends up benefiting big companies in some cases because they're the ones who have the bandwidth and the resources to be able to make it work or to fight it. If you're a small company starting up right now, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough no matter what because we're in New York State. Many of you are. All right. That's my solution, though. It's freedom. It's liberty. Let's allow that to work. Government doesn't need to do everything for us. Thanks again for joining us on A Free Solution. I'll be back on Friday. Talk to you then.